A young child, Maria, was having severe stomach pains in her lower abdomen area, so her parents correctively took her to the emergency room. Once Maria got there, the doctor examined her but sent her home that night. Maria then came 2 more times that same night because the pain had worsened in her stomach. On the 3rd visit, the doctor suggested or found out that Maria was going to need immediate surgery, but there was no way that the doctor could tell her parents personally because there was a language barrier between them. A, the doctor couldn't speak Spanish, and B, the parents couldn't speak English, which is why that foreign languages should be mandatory in the education curriculum. Foreign languages are becoming more and more necessary today because of our increasing immigrant population. These languages, if we know them more, we'll be able to provide proper medical care for those who are receiving these health services. And language can also become a sort of barrier between families, education, and the future generations. And thirdly, foreign languages will provide a better outlook on global affairs. My first point is improper medical care. And what I mean by that is if somebody is receiving a health service but they don't understand English, they really don't know what they're receiving, and in the end they really don't know what they're paying for, which is a bad thing. And with the way that our health services are increasing today, they're being more open to a diverse community, therefore they should be either in their own native tongue or they should be in English. Dr. Kim Ji-yeon of the Journal of American Geriatric Society decided to do a phone interview study where she interviewed Latino immigrants and Asian immigrants, and of the 100% of immigrants that she interviewed, 66.8% decided to do their interview in their own native tongue. And of the Asian immigrants, 58.2% decided to do their interview in their own native tongue. And the funny thing about this is that the immigrants who did decide to do their interviews in their native tongue was the older generations of the Latino immigrants and the Asian immigrants, which ties into my second point, where the language as a whole can create barriers between families, education, and future generations. So with future generations, it's if the older generations only speak their native tongue, and the future generations only speak English and just a little bit of their native tongue, they won't be able to communicate with each other. Therefore, they'll be losing their culture, their language, and all their traditions. And as for family, if you have a family who was from another country and their child goes to school here, if the parents only speak their native tongue and the child only speaks their English and just a little bit of their native tongue, they won't be able to communicate as well. So if the student needs any type of homework help, it won't be able to be given to them because of that language barrier. And in the U.S., since it's such of a diverse population, it really can't be considered in speak English only country. 95% of the residents here actually only speak English, but that doesn't mean that everybody speaks English. There is like a limited proficiency percentage of people that live in the United States that is shown by Allison Keir Sanchez, which brings me to my third point is global affairs. The world as a whole knows and recognizes English, so technically you can go to any other country and not speak the foreign language and get by really good, because English is seen as more of an international exchange language. So you don't really have to know their language, but if you don't, you kind of don't get that full cultural experience, and you kind of seem ignorant because you don't know their language. And the Chicago Council actually did a study in China, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, and Vietnam, where they interviewed families from those countries and decided and asked them whether or not if they thought that English was an important language to know. And of those families, about 96% of them decided that yes, English is a very important language to know in their education. And that just shows that even in other countries, they want their students to know English so that they can succeed better in the world. And if you come to the United States, it's kind of like, oh, English only, you can only speak English here. But really, there's so many immigrants coming here that it's better to know more than one language. And China, Indonesia, and Japan, and all these other countries are a very good representative of this, where they educate their students to know more languages and be more culturally open. So foreign languages can provide proper medical care. It'll provide a disappearance or decrease in language barriers between family, education, and future generations. And it'll provide a better outlook on global affairs. And with young Maria, if her parents would have been able to speak English, or if her doctor would have been able to speak Spanish, she would have been able to communicate more about her surgery issues, and she wouldn't have to have suffered as much. So foreign languages are becoming more crucial in today's society.